Benfica Podcast is one of the founding members of Benfica Independent. Benfica Independent is an independent platform made by fans for fans, and in it, you can find our podcast, along with many other podcasts, along with articles of opinion, video segments, and much, much more. We're also on Patreon, patreon.com/Benfica Independent, with exclusive contents for our Patreons.
Hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo. Sí, es un club que tiene una grandeza que no se comprende si no estás aquí dentro.
Usando uma magia única, benfiquista, que só nós sentimos assim. Por muitos desgostos que possamos ter, valores mais altos se levantam. E o valor mais alto que se levanta em termos futebolísticos chama-se Benfica.
Quero o Benfica intimidar o adversário. Quero o manto sagrado entrar com vocês em qualquer estado e assustá-los, pá! É isso que eu quero!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Law Benfica Podcast. My name is Alfredo Fumaças, with you always every Tuesday night. Alongside me, Mr. Cristiano Oliveira.
Alfredo, Dave, Freddie, everyone listening in.
All the Freddies.
What's going on? And you can't forget about the guys that are listening the next day or the day after.
Oh, that's right.
There's never a bad day to listen to the Benfica Podcast.
Never.
So, everyone.
Even on your worst days,
Yep.
you can still listen to the Benfica Podcast.
Hope you guys are having a wonderful one.
Back making his return, Dave De Oliveira. Dave De Oliveira.
What is good? We're always fresh. It doesn't matter what day of the week you listen to us. We're always fresh. You could listen to us 2 weeks from now, a week, a month. We're always fresh and ready to go. So great to be back here tonight, boys.
You're fresh, all right?
He's fresh.
Freshly frozen.
He's freshly confet. Yeah, let me try to bring Dave in here real quick. Cristiano, so how you been, man? Tell the people how you feeling, man.
Been better,
You been better?
but I've also been worse. So
Yeah.
in terms of Benfica, pretty positive. Pretty positive. Very excited to see
Very excited.
Very excited to see what's on.
Did you watch both games?
Yes, I did.
That's wonderful.
It was wonderful.
Dave, what'd you do on your week off, brother?
What I do on my week off? Day trips. We went to the trailer a couple of days, went to the beach, enjoying some nice Canadian summer weather here because soon enough the cold winter will be upon us. So got to soak up the rays while we can up north.
Soon enough. Damn, Dave. Dude, tem calma, bro.
I guess I'm a glass half full guy if I'm already thinking about the winter time.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the cold could take its time getting here. But I know up north you guys get it sooner than we do. But, yeah, for your sake as well.
Yeah. So anyway, episode number 452. While I try to bring Dave into the picture here. Yeah. At least you can hear him, right? You guys can hear Dave. At least we got that fixed. But yeah, episode 452. Benfica put a bow on their preseason today with the game against Newcastle for the Eusebio Cup. But before that, we played Girona up in Switzerland, which was. Can we say that little Portugal in Switzerland with the amount of Portuguese that were in attendance at that game, Cristiano?
Which game? The one against Girona?
Yeah, in Switzerland.
I remember that game, but it seems like it was like forever ago, right?
The one that they invaded the field afterwards.
No, I turned it off. As soon as the game was over, I
Yeah,
I didn't, honest to God, I didn't see what was going on. So
the funniest thing was that they kept saying that please do not
invade the pitch. Okay, that's exactly what they did. Well, next time I think
As they're already on.
Dave, I think the next time they should tell them to invade it, and maybe they'll just do the opposite.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
But
They-
little Portugal, that's even a small city in Switzerland. I'd never heard of that city. I had
Is
to
it
do
really?
a search. Yeah, only 25,000 people live in that town.
25,000 people.
Yeah, but as we
Yeah.
know, Benfiquistas travel, guys. It doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily.
they
for
do.
sure.
They don't have to be from that town. They could be from surrounding towns and even neighboring countries.
That's right. They could be from, I think that Germany's pretty close, right?
I don't know. We're not going to go down the geography path here, right? Because I don't think we ever hit that one on the head. Every
No.
time. Okay. So we'll just say that's if you noticed, Alfredo, I smartly went with the neighboring countries, right, Dave? Instead of sticking my foot in my mouth, I just said the neighboring countries, whichever one whichever neighboring countries they may be. I have.
I
no
mean,
clue.
if we're looking to kill some time, I can always pull up a map of Switzerland
Dave,
and
pull
go
up
see
a map,
who's-
Dave.
Dave, not to put you on the spot, but I mean, Dave, you are supposed to be the stats guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got Germany to the north, Austria to the east, Italy to the south, and France to the west.
Look
So
at that. Look at that.
a lot of probably maybe some Portuguese traveled from France.
A lot of neighbors.
I don't know.
A lot of neighbors.
Yeah,
That's it.
don't know how many Portuguese are in Germany and Austria and Italy, but definitely a lot in France that could have traveled over to Switzerland.
Maybe they made their way to Switzerland to get some Swiss chocolate, some Swiss Army knives, some Swiss watches, and then they said, hey, while we're at it, we'll watch the Benfica game. So,
Sure, why not?
You missed out the Swiss cheese too.
The Swiss cheese.
there is Swiss. Yeah, but isn't Swiss cheese from like Milwaukee, Green Bay?
Why would Swiss cheese be from Milwaukee?
It is. Isn't that the one?
Wouldn't it be from Switzerland?
The cheese heads. I don't know. I see the Packers with the
There's
date.
a different types of cheese, man.
I don't know. Isn't that cheese? Like Swiss cheese? The ones with the holes in it?
No, with the holes. Yeah.
That is
Well,
Swiss
you're thinking
cheese.
about the cheese heads and
Yeah.
the Packers.
That's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Alfredo, I don't know. I don't like cheese. So, you got to.
You don't like cheese?
I don't like cheese. I don't eat cheese. I despise cheese. So, you got to give me a pass here on my if I get my cheese geography wrong.
All right.
But listen, I want to say what's up to Dave Hand, Manny Valadão, desculpa lá, Moraes Miranda, Mo, Hugo Ferreira, Cristiano. Oh, that's me. Cesar da Silva. Just wanted. Oh, Davey Hand is correct. He's saying the package is cheddar. What? Amarelo is
cheddar.
cheese.
Cheddar, Cabot.
And it's got holes in it. So, I mean, nobody's really paying attention. But listen, real quick, Manny Baladão says here, as a lifelong Benfica and Newcastle fan, today was fun. Benfica always comes number one for me, obviously. So, listen, there's a lot of people who are enjoying Benfica so far in the preseason. We get to travel. People get to go to Portugal, watch games, and as you mentioned, Switzerland, right? Switzerland. These preseason games that Benfica gets to partake in, and so it becomes a very fun summer. Hopefully, one day we'll get to play in Milwaukee and get some taste some cheddar cheese.
Then
Yes,
who just played in Wisconsin?
the two teams.
United?
City
City, yeah. City and
Bayern.
Bayern. They just played in Milwaukee.
Lambeau Field.
Wisconsin. Yeah, Lambeau.
Lambeau Field.
That's where they play.
Green Bay. That's not Milwaukee. It's Green
That-
Bay. Lambeau Field.
Well, it's like East Rutherford in New York City. So how's everybody doing? All right? We're ready to go? We're ready to go. I think we're about ready. We got Dave. Dave has been absent. Dave, welcome, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Dave's here for now, guys. Enjoy him while you
Yeah, let's talk about this Girona game, and I'll give you the lineup, and we'll get into it. Elton was in goal, Gilberto, Otamendi, Murato, and Grimaldo across the back. Florentino and Enzo in the middle, Neres and Rafa, João Mario, and then Ramos up front. Cristiano, what do you think? I mean, we've seen a repeat of this starting 11 now.
with the exception of the goalie. But
With
it's
the
pretty much.
with the except, well, today was the exception of Vlaco Dimos.
No, he played the last game as well.
You didn't start. You didn't start against Girona.
He did it.
Elton was the one that started against Girona. Yeah, because up until today,
Little
well,
please.
still today, he's out of both him and Elton, he's the only goalie that has allowed goals in this preseason. Elton has not. Elton played the first half of the Girona game.
That's a clear sign to me then. No,
It's a clear sign. We got a winner.
there it is. Winner, chicken dinner.
We got a winner. We got a winner. But yeah,
I
I mean,
could have sworn that, dude. I'm sorry, bro. Look, guys, I'm pretty sure you're accustomed to me messing up here on a podcast. That's why we hired Dave and we paying the big bucks. But I'm also in preseason mode, and I could have sworn that Vlaco has at least started 2 games. I know Helton started a few, but I thought it was 2-2. But you might be right. He came in the second half against Girona and gave up a couple, right? That game as well. Gave up a couple. But yeah, look, to answer your question more directly, yes, I think Roger Schmidt so far early on here has identified his strongest 11. And I think he's tried to give these guys as many minutes together as possible to get them comfortable to playing one another. They might just be the guys that have picked up his system the quickest as well. Because as we know, Benfica's very next game is not a game como a gente diz a jogar pós Berlins. Yep. This is for, Champions League third round qualifying. So it's a game that matters, a game that has a tremendous importance for Benfica for the rest of the season. And so I think he's identified his strongest 11 or strongest 10, with the exception of the goalie switching back and forth. But I think it will be Vlaco Dimas as well come August 2nd at the Estádio da Luz against Midfield. Whatever, I don't know, sounds like Brazil. Ai, Mitch.
Aí, Mitch.
Aí, cara, faz right.
Faz right e depois vai pro Mitch.
And so I think he's identified his players. And look, so far, in every preseason game, we understand it's preseason. I think today was, not to get ahead into the Newcastle, but I think the Newcastle game has been the one that's, at least in terms of degrees of difficulty, was the most difficult one. But they've played well. They've had spurts of where they were dominant. There's inconsistencies there, but we'll get into that. But I think to answer your question, as I said before, more directly, I think Roger has is established who his starting 11 is going to be for these very important couple of games coming up so far. And until these games are in our rearview mirror, I think these will be the starters until hopefully Benfica does what they have to do and qualify for the Champions League. And then I do think there might be a couple more reinforcements, but that's for a later part in the podcast here.
Yeah, I think that the games have been getting more difficult as preseason has gone on, I think. And I think that that speaks a lot to the planning, where the higher degree of difficulty has come later on this preseason. Girona was a team that had a very high defensive line. So we've seen a couple looks in terms of teams and how they play and their identity, and I think we've seen a couple of mixes of what we can find during the season. Girona played with a high line. Benfica was able to get behind every now and again, but yeah, I think up until this point, Benfica hadn't really played anybody with a high line until Newcastle and Girona. But yeah, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. Dave, thoughts, man? Thoughts on this Girona game in Switzerland? Little Portugal.
Yeah,
Dave was in the woods. He didn't have internet.
Dave was. Did you watch the game, Dave?
I caught the first half of the game. So figures I missed all the goals in the second half there, but I caught the highlights there. The only thing, and it's already been mentioned in the chat there, it looks like with the starting starting 11 that Roger Schmidt's been using here, he's been going with Gilberto there at right back, and I think it's already been put in the chat whether we go with Ba or Gilberto, but I guess maybe it's Gilberto's job to lose since he's got some seniority over Ba, maybe. But at this point, I think I'm liking what I'm seeing from Ba as well. So can't go wrong with either option at this point.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you, and that was my biggest doubt in terms of the Newcastle game, and we'll get there soon, was whether or not Ba had overcome Gilberto, because he's been playing so well, but so has Gilberto. And like you said, Dave, it is Gilberto's spot to lose. And I think that, it's been great to have seen the way Gilberto has progressed from an ugly duckling to a guy that's revered and respected by the fan base, right? Because of what he puts into the game and how he's been able to progress in terms of his skill, his ability, his à vontade to play with the team. I've really enjoyed to see his progression. Cristiano, what do you think? Is it Gilberto's spot to lose?
Yeah, I mean, rewind the tape. When we, I believe our first podcast of the year, when we talked about the acquisition of Ba, initially I said, I think Gilberto starts off ahead of him. Eventually, once Ba adapts to Portuguese football, because he is coming from the Czech Republic League, so it is going to be a step up. I understand the Portuguese League is not one of, the premier leagues in the world, but it's still a huge step up in competition from what Ba is, accustomed to. So I do, and I did think at the time, and I still do think it'll take him a little while to adapt. And I know preseason's looked well, and I'm excited. I think we have a quality right back for the first time in a while. So really, since Nelson Semedo went out the door, it looks like we're going to finally have a right back that's going to be able to go up and down the wing, create. And look, the guy's got a goal on his feet as well. He could score. So it's a very exciting signing for Benfica. But as I said before, Gilberto, based on the way he finished last season, how he's committed himself to this club, how he's ingrained into the fan base now. Everybody's really started to appreciate Gilberto, right? It was pretty clear that he was going to be the guy coming out of the starting gates that was going to be clearly ahead, and I'm not really surprised. I think Roger Schmidt decided to keep the guy that's comfortable. It took Gilberto as well 1 full season to really get adapted to Portuguese football, and once he did, obviously everybody else's opinion has really shifted on him because initially a lot of people were not too thrilled with his acquisition.
Yeah.
But I think he's turned some heads. And look, I'm glad to see that Gilberto's obviously, picked up his game. But at the same time, Ba's coming. And I think it'll be a matter of time before Ba gets a hold of that spot. But at the end of the day, it is healthy competition. You have 2 options at that right back position, whether it's Gilberto or Ba. One of them's not playing well. You can put in the other guy. So this is what I would like to see throughout the rest of the roster. Unfortunately, at left back, we still have an enigma over there, and Ristic, we don't even know what the hell he is. He hasn't really played.
He's been hurt.
Grimaldo is a cone defensively. So, unfortunately, throughout the rest of the roster, there isn't that competition that we have a right back. But I think that the right back position, Steinboer's
I think so. You don't need Gonçalves. You don't need Almeida. Well, we know we don't need Almeida, but we don't need to invent anymore on that position. I think they hit the nail right on the head with that, and the fact that, and I was listening to Picado and Engracia and Yoko today as they were doing the recap of the game, and I agree with them. The fact that there is competition and those guys are somewhat on level footing right now, that there's no reason why either one of them is not going to be better as a result of
correct.
They're
going to elevate each other.
Even Gilberto at 30 years old or 27 years old, whatever how old he is.
Elevate each other because
That's
they
correct.
know in order for me to play, I have to be at my peak form
Yes, sir.
at all times.
Yes, sir.
And so any slip up, the other guy is going to be ready to take that opportunity. And like I said before, I think Ba will eventually be that guy. But for now, it's beautiful to see. It's just sad and unfortunate
that we don't have that
throughout the rest of the at the goalie position we needed.
Baby steps. It only took about 6-7 years to get that position filled. Okay, we got to appreciate it while we can.
Yeah, no, I get it, Dave. I get it, but yeah, it's everything that I've seen from Ba so far has been very impressive. He's even gotten on the score sheet and assists. So he's been good. He gets up front, and I don't think he's as much of a liability defending as Grimaldo is.
No, but
I think he defends much better than Grimaldo. And we're talking about opposite sides, right?
But forget the side. It's early, right? But all indications and all the signs that he's given us is that he is a quality right back, a kid that's willing to work, a kid that's willing to learn, and the future is very bright. In today's game, I was you know what I mean? But I think he's been impressive up until now. And you expect a player like himself, who's coming from the league and the competition that he's coming from, it's going to take him, just like it take any other player, a little bit of time to get adapted to things. Obviously, preseason, Benfica has really manhandled teams, and he's really played against the opposition's second squad because Benfica has fielded, as we mentioned before, pretty much the same 11 in every single game. And then in the halftime, they sub everybody out. And Ba has played against, because the opposition has done the same as well, and Ba has played against the other team's secondary choices or second lineup or, whatever it is, reserves. And so he's looked well. again, there's going to be that hiccup, and then it's about how he reacts to that hiccup.
Or even a chance in how he responds.
But that's what I'm saying. There's gonna be a hiccup. There's gonna come a time where he's like, "Oh, this shit, this is. I gotta step my game up." And then it's all about, as you just mentioned, the way he reacts to that. And then I think he'll be fine. But it's all about that. It's about how these players adapt and react to certain difficult situations.
No, I agree. We go back to the Caval Passaporte, right?
Exactly.
That old phrase. In the second half, we saw Flaco Dimos, Antonio Silva, Vertonghen and Dias, Maite and Weigl, Chiquinho, Henrique Araújo, and Moreira, and behind Yaremchuk. Also getting minutes in that half were Paulo Bernardo, Gonçalves, Musa, and Pinho. All the goals coming in the second half, but again, this is preseason. Don't put a lot of attention to that. But the fact that Benfica has now played 5 games in preseason and has basically won all of them. Look, take it for what it is.
And Manny Baldon, just to correct this before, Manny Baldon, he says that Flaco Dimos did start the game against Fulham, so it is 2 starts against.
Oh, he did
start for the other. So yes.
Oh,
so he did. So it's 2 starts each. So I knew I was onto something.
Valadão, you get the prize for tonight.
Pagas a conta logo.
Yeah, but
the Chicken Fingers Award.
Look, it certainly has been encouraging to see how the team has developed, and look, certainly Roger Schmidt's identity is very visible in this team. So now moving on to the Eusebio Cup, which happened today as we record this. This is Tuesday. Really, last test before Benfica plays their first official game against Midfield, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Midfield. Yeah, but final test, and look, there was a lot of expectations, right? Because you think, well, these are the 11 guys that are going to be playing. So the lineup was again a repeat with Flaco Dimos just in goal of the Girona game. Flaco Dimos, Gilberto, Otamendi, Morato, and Grimaldo, Florentino and Enzo, Neres, João Mario, Rafa, and Ramos up front. So this is what we're seeing, but I think that there's still some positions here that could be improved. But I think that I am comfortable with the level in which the team is at. Cristiano, thoughts on the game?
To piggyback on what you just said, you say you're comfortable with where the team is at. I am and I'm not. I think the team has been very inconsistent. I think there's times where our level of play is very high, and then there's times where we fall off, right? And I think that consistency is something that Roger Schmidt, as he stated after the game, that there's things he liked, there's things that he didn't like, and I think that's definitely one, because there's portions of the game that Benfica looks like they're in control, they know, but then there's also portions of the game where it looks like they've gone to sleep. And I think Roger Schmidt is going to want to keep that same consistency, that same pressure throughout bigger chunks of the game than what they've done so far. We understand it's preseason, but I think that's been probably the one negative, right, is that the team, there's highs and lows. And I think they want to keep it more even keel. And look, and we hope that that's going to happen. I have no doubt that Roger Schmidt is definitely going to push the boys to get to that level. But, I mean, that would be my one negative. But, again, to talk about in today's game more directly, I thought the team played well. Again, they had some inconsistencies as well. Defensively, they looked like the team fell asleep a couple times, but they created enough chances. I like the pressure. Obviously, the competition was a bit higher today than it's been in preseason, so Neres didn't really shine as much. And we understand that these teams are going, as the competition elevates, the better the quality of the opponent. So the more they're going to focus in on the guys like Neres and the playmakers on Benfica. But it's still good to see. It was a tough test, very physical team. A team that's obviously not going to be at the top half of the Premier League, but they're going to be trying to get, to go to places.
They'll compete. They'll compete.
I don't know. They'll compete for, if they're middle of the table, I think they'll be
You think they're missing a star player?
They're missing a bunch.
They're not just one.
Not just one. They're missing a bunch. But obviously, right now, they're the biggest richest team in the world. I have no doubt in my mind that in 3-4 years, we're talking about a totally different monster.
We're talking about Alan Shearer, Newcastle.
No, way big. I mean, no,
Way
we're
bigger
talking
than
about,
that.
Man, these guys are going to compete with cities and PSGs for these big signings.
Right.
It's just a matter of them climbing their way up the ladder enough to where they get close.
And then
So
getting
Champions-
creative
and then
with
they
the financial fair play.
Yeah, of course. Those guys are smarter than you and I put together. They'll figure it out.
Dave, what's been Cristiano talks about consistencies. What's been your impression in terms of what you've seen, especially in the first halves where we've gotten really the guys that we feel are going to be the projected starters? What have you been able to see during these games that has impressed you?
That has impressed me. I like the way that we attack and we press up high, and that's something that Roger Schmidt brings to this club. To piggyback on the inconsistencies, this is something that we've been seeing 5-6 years with this club, not being able to put two solid halves together, right? So this will now be the fourth coach that tries to solve that mystery of faith and trying to put two solid halves together. But it is also still preseason. Usually what we've been seeing is he subs a completely different 11 together for the second half. So maybe players aren't used to playing with each other. But what I take away from this preseason, like what I'm seeing offensively, still some still left to be desired there on some of the defensive play, especially on the counterattacks. I know Grimaldo was getting picked apart in that first half there, and both goals coming from his side, but not much to complain when it's going forward. But that hasn't been our problem the last couple of seasons.
I'll set off the fireworks.
Yo, do it.
If you allow me to. Dave, I agree with you, right? There's a lot of positives. There's also a lot of negatives, right? Grimaldo, there's a couple things that are guaranteed. I use this line all the time. I just switched the third one, which is death, taxes. And in this case, it's Grimaldo scoring a free kick in preseason and Grimaldo getting beat like a rag doll, right? Every single preseason. And it's still alarming at how he's committing these childish mistakes defensively. You see him on that first goal. There's two. You got Morato, who I've liked so far in the preseason. The guy has not put a foot wrong. I think throughout the preseason he's been very strong, and I think he's probably changed the mindset or the plans of the club and maybe letting him go on loan or even selling him. I think he's been very solid, and I think he's established himself. I think he's going to remain on the club. I don't think Benfica is going to ship him out. But you see Morato and Otamendi in position, and freaking Grimaldo just decides to, hey, bro, vamos jogar ao teu lado, let's go. And he leaves Trippier all by himself. I don't understand these lapses still defensively that Grimaldo commits week in, week out. They're astonishing. Now, to set off the fireworks, in my humble opinion.
Oh, watch out.
And I said this on Twitter today. In my humble opinion, if Benfica aspires to be the club that we all want them to be, which is competing for titles at the end of the season, Benfica cannot have João Mário, Florentino, and Vlaco Di. And I'm not even going to go anymore because I'm trying to play nice. But those three guys cannot be starting come September 1st.
You don't think Florentino has done well?
He's looked good in spurts. I still think he's very inconsistent.
I'm going to tell you guys, that's what the chat is blowing up about right now between Hugo and Davey Hen about Florentino right now. So if you guys want
I've told, and especially you, Alfredo, we've had millions and millions of conversations on this subject, right? And with various other players. It takes a lot more in football. In today's modern football, you can't just be a one-trick pony. You have to be able to do something with the ball in your feet. And Florentino leaves a lot there to be desired. And I'm trying to be nice. I like the kid. I've said it here over and over. You know that I've said it since last year when we went back to the offseason. I think he would be very well served by sitting behind a legit 6 at Benfica and let him be in his backup and playing and getting the minutes, when the game's, whatever, Benfica's ahead comfortably or trying to hold a score or playing in the Taça games, playing in the Taça de Cerveja games. I think he needs to still develop that aspect of his game, and that's why he has not played anywhere at Benfica, at Getafe. He hasn't played with consistency over the last 2 seasons because that part of his game is still not refined enough to be a starter at a club like Benfica. He's got physical attributes. He's not the fastest guy on the pitch. And you've seen today, Maxime, whatever, went right by him like you standing still. He's got to commit a foul. He's got to do – there's just no inconsistency. No consistency in his game. And the one thing that he severely lacks aside from the vision and being able, and I'm not even talking about being an Enzo Perez where he's setting up plays, right? But he needs to pick out a pass. You see the guy turn over the ball. But the other thing that I think Florentino needs to play, right? At least you could make the argument, look, he's playing. He needs to get that intensity up. He needs to get that huge part in order to play in the middle of the park. Your intensity has to be on spot all the time. And he still lacks that, unfortunately. And as for João Mario, I wouldn't understand playing him in the middle of the field. And now you playing him at left mid. Come on, dude. Look, and Roger Schmidt.
Well, that's because they carouseling that front line.
That's fine. It's still he's got no speed. He doesn't open the game. He doesn't really do nothing besides get the ball, touch it back. Benfica. Look, I think it'll be enough to beat the Mijaki, right? Whatever
Midfield.
Yeah, but eventually, as you go through, it depends on the draw, right? You get a Monaco, there's still very tough teams that Benfica could still play in the playoff. You need something better. This is not enough. I like the reinforcements. It's still not enough to get Benfica to the top of the league table at the end of the year. And you can kill me.
I'm not going to kill you for it, obviously, because I think that you bring up valid points. But the thing that I wanted to say is that this is probably the best version of Florentino that I've seen since I've followed him. Right? There's improvements to his game. There's a lot of things that he has done to improve, and I don't think that he's a complete trash this guy and leave him on. You didn't say that. I know you didn't say that, but I do think that he adds some value to this Benfica team. Is he the guy that I would like there? Probably not, but neither is Grimaldo. Right? So you could look at it that way. Those are not guys that I idealize for Benfica. I want something better. But I do recognize that there's been a progression and an evolution in his game. Apparently he had some kind of specific strength and conditioning during the offseason that he told the media that he needed that to get him to where he needs to be in terms of the physicality level. But I do see some improvements in him.
I said it last week. I think at least what I saw, right? And I don't want to call it improvement, but what I seen where he's looked decent, where he's looked good at times is with the pressing, with getting out. As I stated last time, Enzo was the guy that was playing deeper, and Florentino's the guy pressing all up and down the field, and therefore he looked good in that papel, right? In that role, right? He's looked good. It's when he has the ball at his feet.
Yeah, but today I saw him do some long vertical passes.
He did one in the second half to the left to.
No, but there was another vertical pass that I saw him on the ground that he did a couple vertical passes today.
I root for the kid, Alfredo. Root for the kid.
No, nobody's rooting against him.
But I just, bro, I'm always going to put Benfica over anybody, and I know a lot of the players, whatever. But I'm sorry, I love you, and we'll still hang out, and I respect the hell out of you. But at the end of the day, it's Benfica above anything else. And I think in order to get a strong Benfica and get Benfica to where we want him to get, he's just right as we speak. I'm not saying he's not going to develop that part of his game over the next year. I just think he needs to sit behind a veteran, a guy. Not when I say a veteran, I'm talking about it could be 22, 23-year-old, but a guy that's a legit, that there's no doubt about. This is a guy that's going to fit into our.
Like an understudy.
Yeah, exactly. Learn from that type of guy Develop that part of the game. Learn what, because a lot of times you watch and you learn. But if you're playing with guys that are inferior to you, you're not really going to learn. You need to learn from somebody that's, above you, better than you, that has that part of the game that could explain things to you because you're playing in the same role, and like maybe you're not seeing things that a guy that's accustomed to playing that position that already has developed that part of his game could get you to watch as a young kid, because we see the guys take the youngsters under their wing, and maybe that part of it, but I don't know. I don't see that. Hands down, oh my God, that's it. Forget about it. Don't go get nobody else. We got our guy. That's it. End of story. I don't see that.
The thing is that as we look at all our center mids, there's probably none in our team with the same characteristics as Florentino. Why hasn't Weigl played more? Because he doesn't fit the role that Schmidt envisions for that position.
Weigl is not as agile and mobile as Florentino, right? But Weigel's going to give you assurances with the ball at his feet.
Correct.
That Florentino won't give you.
Correct.
So there's going to come a point where when Benfica is, and let's say, I think Weigel's going to leave, but let's say Weigl stays. There's going to come a point where Benfica playing the inferior teams, right? The Tondelas, I think Tondelas second division.
You don't need a destroyer.
No, but not just forget the destroyer. Where they're playing these other teams that are going to sit back, right? And you're going to, you're really going to, they're not going to pressure you. Dino's going to, like, again, I'm 40-something. You give me the ball by myself in the middle of the park, I'm still going to pick out a pass. Put two guys around me, that's it. I'm a turnover machine. I'm not comparing myself, but I'm just making a stupid example. But when you play in the Portos of the world, you playing the other teams that do have the ability to press you, be around you all day, get the ball, turn. That's when Roger Schmidt, if Weigel's still on this team, and let's say nobody else comes in, it's Weigl or Tino at the time. He's got to make that decision. In those games, he's going to have to decide, do I want a guy that just presses all day but really can't take care of the ball? Or do I want Weigl, who's going to take care of the ball, and I'm not really going to have to stress and have to worry about a counter because of a dumb turnover and Grimaldo being up by the corner flag. So those are the decisions I think he's going to have to make.
Different games are going to require different styles. And you're absolutely right when you say that. So, I mean, we'll see. I'm happy with how the kid has progressed. But is he the guy that I envisioned for that position? No. I would have liked to be a more polished guy in that position in terms of those attributes that he has, but a little better with the ball.
Look, I believe the rumors that Benfica is interested in Arsenas or whatever his name is from Feyenoord.
Do you know that kid?
No, but I believe...
Fredrik Aursnes.
But I believe that rumor because that's the type of player we need. I believe in
I don't know the player, so I can tell you.
But I know Roger Schmidt. And I believe Roger Schmidt's going to bring a guy in that he knows that fits his character. He's
not going to bring a guy
that not
to compete with Enzo.
Stop. Because Jorge Jesus brought in Mate and then didn't play him. Right? That happens.
Hey, while we're on the topic of kids in that position, Paulo Bernardo hasn't really been making any headway this season.
Dave.
Some time on loan for him?
But Dave, I'm the crazy one. I'm the one that gets beat up here on the chat when I'd say these kids are. Don't even mention
that.
Bernardo's out of his depth at this point.
Bro, if you guys...
He has not progressed.
If you just play the Benfica podcast to the decision makers at Benfica, you save a lot of heartache and a lot of time. Because, I mean, I tell you, Alfredo.
Somebody should hire you to be a scout. Why hasn't Benfica hired you to be a scout? Because
that's a step down for me.
5 seconds. You watching a player for 5 seconds, you could already tell whether he's going to be good or not.
But tell the Freddies and the listeners that you're not mocking me. You're honest.
I'm not.
You're not mocking. I've been wrong once, but I'm right a lot more.
We need to get Kevin and Tunj on this podcast again.
Kevin's too busy for me now.
Kevin's too busy. Yeah, you're right. We need
Kevin, the Seixeiro brothers, everybody's
the Seixeiro brothers. When baseball is over, maybe we could get Alex on.
Now they'll be upset.
Then it'll be fantasy.
But Alex will be upset because my Yankees will finish ahead of his Toronto Blue Jays. He's not going to be taking.
He's used to the misery, bro. He's used to the misery.
Well, the Blue Jays aren't miserable. They got 2 chips in the 90s.
Yeah. So lots of goals. Ramos getting on a score sheet.
And let's get back. It's because this is important.
I just want to get back to
This
where
is
we
important,
were.
But this is important, though.
Go ahead.
Because we talk about the Freddies and we give them no love. So
Dave is supposed to be checking the chat.
No,
I
but
can't
let's
be
forget
running the
checking,
show and
but-
looking at the
But
chat.
we have to say some. Like, there's obviously a lot of Florentino
Go
talking
ahead.
back and forth. There's Hugo, Davey, and there's a lot of different opinions. Cindy Souza says a lot of players still on this team that shouldn't be here. Diogo Reis, Diogo, estás a trabalhar, pa? What's up? Thank you for listening as always. And by the way, thank you for the rest of you guys listening. Appreciate it. But he's definitely a lot better than the last time we saw him. He's talking about Florentino. So he's putting in the work, yes, for sure. Hugo says, yeah, but he can't be a starter. Hugo actually aligns with my thought process.
You guys talk a lot. You guys, you like contage. You you contaminate each other's thoughts.
I'm his mentor.
Oh, you're his mentor.
His mentor.
So he will lead. He will follow your lead.
If he's a smart guy, he listens. And then, and I wanted to get back to the chat because then you get Davey Hen that says Chris just wants 11 drops on the field. I mean, Davey, if that's what you think of me, look.
No, but he would play Tarapto over João Mario.
I'll tell you this
Would
much.
you play Tarapto over João Mario?
All day. And I'll tell you this much. Give me eye candy. If you're telling me I want to watch something on the field that's got a building that's going to make it a little nutmeg, to me, that's a lot more entertaining.
Why don't you watch futsal, man? Futsal is a sport for you.
They are terrible.
The futsal is a sport to you. They got the Jenga.
What Jenga? Hey, Dave, I actually, those are like a half hour, like 20 minutes I'm never going to get back in my life. I regret it so much. But I sat there and I said, let me check this out because Ricardinho, that dude's got Jenga. Ricardinho is a god. So I said, let me see. Hey, yo, bro. I'm like, hey, isto é que vai às finais da Europa. I'm like, I don't even want to start giving my thoughts because to me, those guys, they're playing futsal because they couldn't play anything else.
Sorry for putting you on that tangent.
That's fine. But I like guys that could pick out a pass. That could. Now, I understand in modern day football, the 10s, those guys they're like dinosaurs, right? They're going by the wayside. I understand that you're gonna need guys that aren't as pretty on the ball, but have the physical aspect, the discipline. I understand all that, guys. I'm not saying that to get rid of that. I totally understand that. But at the same time, bro, you need those types of players on the field because, bro, there's going to come a point that you gotta create. You got to get to the opposition side. You got to score a goal. Everyone in modern-day football is so concerned nowadays with not giving up goals that you forget. You're 100% correct. If you don't give up a goal, Dave, can't lose, right? But they forget on the reverse side of the coin, if you don't score, you can't win as well. And it takes a little bit of creativity. It takes every team. Look at the big teams. There's got to be magic guys on the team that have that magic wand, and that's just it. So it's not about 11 drops, bro.
Yeah,
quality players.
The thing that I wanted to say about this game, and this has always been Roger Smith's identity, right? He's a guy that is not very stingy on defense. He's going to give up goals just because of the offensive volume that his teams play. When you play that press, that high press, that very intense press, the weak side is always going to be exposed. So in terms of the 2 goals that we gave up today to Newcastle, both to the same side, were at times where Benfica had the weak side exposed and Newcastle had enough time to switch the ball to the open man. That ball to Trippier, we knew that was. I mean, Trippier is a good player, and he wasn't gonna miss that pass for their goal. But again, the weak side is what's gonna hurt Benfica. But as long as we could work the timing on the press and be able to shut down and don't let teams breathe or look up to see where the weak side pass is, we're in good shape. The moment we tone down the press and we get lazy in terms of the timings, teams are going to find us on the weak side and we're going to be exposed every single time.
Yeah, but I don't know where he's going to play. I don't understand, right? Because you could start, as I mentioned before, Morato has looked really good in the preseason. Otamendi's team captain. He's going to play a lot. Verissimo is coming back, and then you start to wonder why they brought in João Vitor. But I think João Vitor was brought in because of that reason.
João Vitor is the fastest center
That's
back
what I'm
on
saying.
the team.
That's what I'm trying to say. I think he's brought in because of that reason, because he's going to cover up a lot of those holes that Benfica is going to be going up and pressing high. And then there are teams that are going to break the trap. They're going to break the press.
Yep.
There are teams that are going to convert on an errant pass,
Yep.
right? And then I think João Vitor, because I started questioning, like, Vertonghen's not going anywhere. You got a boatload of center backs. You start to question, right, Dave? With all the other positions that need to be strengthened on this team, weren't we better off investing that $10 million on a left mid, for example? Right? I'm just using an example. Why go get another center back? But then there's $1 million question, and there's the answer. Because the guy's got wheels. And I think he is there to be able to cover up a lot of those counterattacks and a lot of those,
But
weak side turnovers.
Could
and
we
shit like that.
could like Morato's been getting a lot of start time. Grimaldo's there by default, and João Mario as well. Could the club be using this as a showcase? There's still some time in the transfer market, or maybe trying to
Who'd you
get
mention?
a club to sell him.
Who'd you mention? Who's showcasing who? Grimaldo?
Moratu.
Yeah, Murata, there's
Grimaldo.
been a couple offers from Rennes, and Benfica has turned them away.
See,
And
man,
what I've
João Mario
read.
was the other one.
well, I think João
João Mario's not going
João Mario,
anywhere.
you could put him in the red light district in Amsterdam, and nobody for free.
Nobody's touching him.
Nobody gonna touch him.
Nobody's gonna rub that ball head.
Grimaldo, same thing. He might get somebody touch him with a stick, but nobody's really gonna pay
I
you
don't
any-
know. I think
I don't
that Arsenal might snap up Grimaldo
on the cheap.
on the cheap if it's cheap.
Yeah. I mean, like what's his name? Tavares money. But
Well,
Dave,
Tavares is shipped off Tavares. You saw that, right?
but Dave,
Opening up room for Grimaldo.
But to answer that question regarding Moratu, if we didn't say what we said earlier, right? This is just my thought process. That Roger Schmidt has clearly identified his strongest 11 in camp. If Benfica was trying to showcase him, I don't think he'd be in this 11, Dave. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I think due to the fact, because, could have played him and we got to prepare for him not being here. We're really showcasing him. This is not his spot. I think there is a clear indication here that Roger Schmidt, at least the way I read it, Roger Schmidt has been pleasantly surprised by Moratu. And I think, as I mentioned before, Moratu has forced his way onto this team. I don't think they're showcasing him no more. I honestly don't think. Look, you're going to have Otamendi, right? You're going to have it eventually. João Vitor has got, it's, as we talked about in the first couple of preseason podcasts, it was ludicrous that Benfica, and same thing with Enzo, that Benfica would come to an agreement with these clubs and let him play in the Libertadores because of this risk factor for getting hurt. And that's exactly what's happened. And he's been hurt ever since. But he's going to get healthy, right? So, and then you got Verissimo that's going to get healthy. But Verissimo might be
We don't know, man.
No, he's going to get healthy. Afraid.
He's going to get healthy, but those
question is gonna
injuries are usually.
The question is going to be, does he come back in September, guys? Is he back in October, November, December, or January? So then, and maybe if you have a Moratu playing well, João Vitor being healthy, Otamendi, you can tell, you have the luxury of telling Verissimo, really take your time. Make sure you're 100%. But the reason why I'm mentioning all those guys is because, you can still keep Moratu in a 3-horse rotation with Otamendi, João Vitor, and him. Because Vertonghen, I honestly think, look, he's a consummate professional, a guy who's a Belgium legend, a Tottenham legend, but I think he's a little long in the tooth. I think I'd be okay with him going. So, due to the fact that Verissimo is not healthy yet, right, Alfredo, you're going to have to keep 3 centrais.
Yeah.
Araújo's being loaned out as UB sent.
Yeah. No, it's Antonio Silva is going to go play in the B
Still
team.
youngster. So I think Moratu's staying.
I think that the biggest thing is that Benfica has a good problem to have, right? One thing is when you're struggling for center backs like you have in years past, you're not struggling for center backs right now. Even though that there's variable degrees of ability and technical whatever. But here's the thing with Vertonghen, right? The thing with Vertonghen is that you got a World Cup in Qatar, and regardless of his status with the Red Devils, with the Belgium national team, if he's not playing on a regular basis, I don't know if he makes that World Cup squad, man.
I still think look, There's still, what are we today? 26.
26th of July.
So there's still a month and a week or so left in the transfer window.
Where's he gonna go to be relevant? He can't go to the MLS.
He could go back to Anderlecht. He could go back to Ajax, for example. He could go back to
Is Benfica going to let him go? Just
No,
rescind the
he's
contract?
not.
Because what are they going to get?
They should. What are you going to get for a 35-year-old?
Right now, he should be one of the names that are on the list of guys that are expendable. For me.
I agree.
But the thing is that he's going to be very picky in terms of where he goes because he wants to go somewhere where he has the visibility and also he's going to have the playing time. He's going to be a starter. And I don't know what market that is.
He's an Ajax legend.
Yeah, but Ajax will not
sold Martinez.
But they won't start him.
Bro, they've started Danny Blind forever, and Danny Blind was just as old as him. Look, I don't really care where he goes. I think he should go. How's that?
Yeah, I think so too.
Those old dinosaurs at center back. Maybe some Italian club will pick him up.
Yeah, somebody will pick him up.
Who does?
Some Italian club will pick him up. Yeah, Alfredo, I still think, look, nobody's going to pay for him. Benfica's going to have to let him really rescind this contract, let him go on a free. But we've seen Benfica is not rescinding the contract. They don't even want to rescind the contract with they're waiting for Andre Almeida to determine and settle his situation. What's his situation? Nobody cares. Nobody wants him.
No. But anyway, getting back to the game. So again, Benfica's hardest test by far, and there was times that we
didn't touch on something about the game.
What's
the
that?
one thing that got so much play, newspapers, at the same TV, they had their own journalists on this offensive coordinator.
No,
and now we're finally, Dave, right? We're finally getting goals off of set pieces.
I was thinking about that today. We had the set piece specialist as the interim coach, and we just never got any goals. And now brand new guy comes in, and we're scoring all these goals here from set pieces.
What I thought was funny.
Preseason.
What I thought was funny today. If I'm not mistaken, I think it might have been Benfica FM, might have been Nuno from Benfica. I don't know. I read, in apologies, I forget exactly who it was, but I read it on Twitter. Like, in a way, kind of hoping that like they're not scoring all these goals, set piece goals in preseason, because I feel like we're gonna meet our quota and then we're gonna go the rest of the season not score. So, Dave, I don't want to use up all our bullets right now.
Our opposition will have film on how to defend it going into the season, one or the other there. But,
I don't want to use our quota up right now. So
sixth goal from a dead ball situation for Benfica this preseason.
1 penalty and 5 free kicks, right? Corners, free kicks.
No, I don't think you can count on the penalty.
Yeah, that's the
doesn't count the penalty kick.
Okay. I heard today, Elder Conduto.
He said 6, but I don't know if he counted the penalty.
He did. He mentioned.
He did mention the penalty.
Yeah.
But look, it's refreshing. It's refreshing to be able to see Benfica score from set pieces because, as I mentioned last week's pod, is on those games where you're playing in a Roca that's got 2 buses parked in front, that set piece goal might make the difference.
A lot of times when teams are evenly matched up.
It's a 50-50 thing.
It's going to be those, how prepared you are, and it's going to be those teams that take advantage of the bolas paradas that normally come out on top.
Yeah. Second half, the starters got a little bit more time. Then in the 59th minute, Weigl, Yaremchuk, and Chiquinho came in for Enzo, Ramos, and Neres.
The chat gone quiet. Did we lose them?
It's gone quiet.
Yeah,
Maybe it's just
live, guys. Are we still live?
Is your
yeah, we're still live.
I think they're all upset because I said Tino shouldn't be a starter.
And then you said 10 Tarap should
I
play.
didn't say 10. Davey said 11. I don't know, man. I think Davey scared all the listeners away. Everybody's gone. They
No, look, I think everybody in the chat would agree that that Benfica is looking good. My opinion, and Dave, you look at this preseason, and you look how the team has progressed under a new coach, under a new system. What are your feelings?
I mean, it's great to see how the team is playing. Like I said already, offensively, but at this point, guys, we've been burned so many times. How many preseasons have we come on here saying team looks good? And even if they come out and go undefeated the first month of the season, I don't know. I've been burned too many times. We've seen this this movie with these, especially with a lot of these guys that still remain on this squad. They hit some sort of lull once we are, if and knock on wood, we qualify for Champions League. Once we get into the actual Champions League tournament, we hit some sort of a lull just around that time. So, pleasantly surprised to see what's going on right now, but it is preseason. The real test now starts, and I think Roger Schmidt alluded to that in his post game press conference, that the real season now begins.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, I think the last couple of years we've started the preseason off really well, playing in these qualifiers, coming out with the exception of that one hiccup against PAOK. But, I mean, I believe one of you guys here, even on a podcast, came on after like week 3 or 4 and said, "Oh, by Christmas, we're champions." I don't remember which one of you.
Not me.
Which one of you it was.
Not me. No, look, I think I guess I could ask you this. I could ask you the same question, right? It's early, and I think that Dave hit it on the head, right? It's great to have this newfound hope that Benfica is in the right path and is gonna win titles, and title that they haven't won any silverware in 3 years.
Not even the Taça de Cerveja, which we were the owners.
A Taça de Carica.
Taça de Cerveja, bro. That was...
No, it's one of those things that you kind of have this renewed hope, like I was saying. But let's see how the season progresses. And I hate to be like that negative guy that it's always waiting for the sky to fall on them.
That's normally me on the podcast.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I just think that there's something different. There's something different about this team. And I'm really enjoying, and we haven't touched on Enzo, right? Crack. Or are you still out?
No. I think I gushed all over him last week, but yeah, early signs. He's looked really good. He's looked really good. He's real comfortable on the ball. Today wasn't one of his best games, but again, Roger Schmidt mentioned in his post-game press conference, because somebody asked them something about the players weren't at their best today, and was it due to the fact competition, tired, whatever it was, fatigue, and I think you mentioned like we had a double session yesterday, a session earlier today. These guys are exhausted as well. So yeah, in terms of impressive, numbers, in terms of a passing percentage, whatever, he did give up the ball a little bit more today than he did in previous games, but you could still tell this is a baller. This is a guy that's not afraid of the pressures, not afraid of the limelight. He's going to come back, going to be the first guy really asking the ball and starting up playing, organizing things. He's aggressive when he needs to be. He's great at pressuring the opposition. Look, it's early, but he is in mid-season form because River Plate was in mid-season, pretty much playing Libertadores, which is the equivalent, South American Champions League. So he is ahead of most of his teammates or even the opposition because, again, as I just mentioned, he's in mid-season form. But it looks like Benfica have found themselves another quality Argentinian player. One of these players that I hope that the rest of Europe is really thinking about how depressing this club's been over the last couple of years, and they choose to ignore Benfica and don't come watch him, because I think if you watch this kid play and these Sharks come around, he won't last very long.
No,
so
I don't think he'd last past this year.
Yeah, I hope.
I really don't. He's not going to stay past this season. It's just, from what Cristiano was saying, baller, when he gets the ball, before he even gets the ball, he already knows where his next pass is going to be. And oftentimes it's not a lateral pass. It's a pass that will put a guy through or find a guy in space or switch the angle of play or the side of play. It's just these things, man. And look, it could be something that is in preseason. He's in mid-season form already while the other guy's in preseason. But the thought, the idea, the mentality, the awareness, it has nothing to do with the physical stamina.
You can tell he's different.
Oh,
Last week when I was gushing over him, Dave, you weren't here, and I said there are players that get the ball and get rid of it, one touch, two touch, and you see them like they're constantly moving the ball. But there's a difference between what I've seen Enzo do, again, and I'll repeat it for what I said last week. There's a difference between you getting rid of the ball to the nearest open guy and like, yo, look, it looks like you did your job. Like, oh, man, look, another pass. Look at that. He picked up his. But there's a difference between getting the ball and putting the ball in a teammate that is best positioned to go forward, just progress. And that's what's impressive about Enzo.
Yeah.
He's not just getting rid of it because, oh, my God, I'm under pressure. I got to get rid of it. No, there is a thought process. There is a buildup already behind his pass. And they say the great ones, right? They're always a player or two ahead. And I don't want to put him in that category yet. Let's slow down. But it looks like the guy, at least in his mind, right, he's got this brain to understand and pick out passes and really be able to alleviate pressure at the same time as he's really putting his teammates or his team in the best position to just proceed and go forward.
Yeah. And the thing I like about him is how he dictates the pace. He gets the ball in and depending on what he's feeling in terms of what the game needs. I've seen him being very, very direct with his passes and very quick with his passes. Doesn't hold on to the ball for that long, especially when there's an option available, and vertical passes to find guys. I'm the most excited about him. Certainly, the guys that I've watched him so far in these games that he's played are probably feeling the same way. Anyway, so Benfica puts a bow on their preseason games. What was it? Four or five?
5 games.
5 games, 5 wins. 5 wins in 5 games. Preseason champions.
Preseason
It
champion.
might go in a museum.
It's like the NCAA football. We ranked number 1 in the world after 5 victories. Where are we at, Dave?
The preseason
Some teams
polls.
haven't even played their first game yet, and we've already got 5 under our
power
belts
rank.
there.
The preseason polls are very. Benfica is power ranked number 1.
And we won a bridge along the way.
And we won a bridge. We
Eusebio
finally
Cup.
won something.
That's 2.
In the Eusebio Cup. And the
It was good
Eusebio
to
Cup,
see
which
today.
we hadn't won in
10 years.
10 years.
Era porrada toda a gente.
11.
São Paulo. Remember we went to Monterrey to inaugurate their stadium. We got slapped 3-0. Pissed. But they were so embarrassed by all these performances that they started playing the games on the road. And so this is the first time since 2016, I think 2016, that it was played at home.
11 editions, and we've only won 4.
Yep.
No, bro. That doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
11 editions, and we've only won 4 of them.
That doesn't make sense.
How does that make sense?
2009,
Doesn't make
2011,
sense.
Why not?
2012,
Once Dave,
and 2022.
once Dave starts, but still doesn't make sense. You just said they went 10 years without winning one. There's 11 of them. So that means they won 1 and lost 10. How is that 4?
That stat was you. 10 years, the stat was you, not mine. Maybe you misheard El Conduit. Dave, when was the last time that Benfica won
10 sounded right.
It was in 2012. 2012. was the
2012?
last time.
10 years.
So that's 10 years
Yeah,
without
but
winning.
we've skipped a couple of years that we didn't have Eusebio Cups.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, then.
That's how the math adds up.
Because I was going to say, there's 11. We haven't
there's
won
algebra.
10.
There's an algebra variable in there.
I never
There was
understood
a
that
Eusebio
algebra.
Cup that was canceled that was supposed to be played in Canada. so
Oh
you
yeah.
can't
So
forget that
Let's.
fiasco there.
Why do you got to bring up all shit, Dave? I know that's that's a sensitive subject.
So
bro.
who kept the trophy?
Who kept the trophy?
Must have
Yeah,
been
they-
stuck at the museum.
That year. Nobody played. Have they refunded you guys the money yet?
Holy
Oh
shit.
god.
Let's not get into that.
No, that was the promoter
I'm
in
thinking.
Toronto. That's
I'm
not
thinking
Benfica.
Jaffush has got a mouthful to say about that.
That's why Jaffush be rolling around in a BMW. He wasn't even a promoter. Jaffush.
Anyway, let's start wrapping this up. So Benfica found out today who they were going to be playing in August 2nd at Stade Luge in the first leg of the 3rd round qualifier. Let's not forget that there's still a game after that for Benfica to make it to the group stages.
Couple games.
But we will be playing Midfield on August 2nd at Stade Luge. That's next Tuesday. Also, what else we got?
Man.
Yeah.
Not next Tuesday, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is next. Hey.
Yeah.
Bro, why is it that the winter takes forever to roll through? In the summer, bro, we're in August
Yeah, bro.
already.
We were in
My
August
birthday's
already.
around the corner. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we're in August already. Yeah.
Every day gets shorter by a minute now.
Yeah. In other news, Thiago Gouveia went to Estoril. Pizzi
Oh, yeah, Pizzi.
rescinded his contract with Benfica, and he went to Al-Wada. He did not travel to Switzerland because his parents were run over and they were in a hospital, so he needed to tend to his parents. But let me ask you
I
something.
I could understand not liking Pizzi and playing a Benfica, but
Yeah.
running over his parents, that's a little bit much.
Let me ask you this, and Cristiano, I know that you know that I'm not the biggest Pizzi fan, like many of our listeners know, right? Pizzi's done a lot of things for the club. I think his name will be etched in the club's history. But let me ask you this. Do you think that Pizzi deserved something better in terms of his departure? Could they have
It's complicated.
brought him on
It's
the game today?
It's complicated. And I'll tell you why it's complicated.
Go ahead.
If you go strictly by numbers, right? You look at 300 games played, goals, title.
Ridiculous numbers.
The dude, for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, should have gotten a victory lap around Stade de Luz. But it's not just about. He left yesterday, I believe, and they saw him.
Well, he was going to Barcelona for medicals.
Whatever. He left. I'm saying he left yesterday. But due to the fact that when we seen him in January, Lita Bashaki, there was no love affection anyway. It was kind of like you leaving out the back door. So I don't know, because he gave
the stage was set.
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah, if they did it then, now they're gonna give him some type of hurrah, Chow Lauda, gonna get him laid and put the things around his neck. I just don't. So I'm not surprised that this is the way they opted to do it. But Pizzi's going to be one of those guys that is going to be remembered for a very long time as a player who is best described as a Munku master, but his numbers are through the roof, and you should still, even though we rag on him, and I don't think any of us here on the podcast are biggest Pizzi fans, we understand his importance on those teams, on those championship but those championship winning teams. He was a very key part, because those 20-plus goals he was scoring against the lesser opposition, hey, it's 3 points in the bag. And at the end of the day, every 3 points accumulated, added up to winning a title. And so Pizzi was very, very important to those teams. And I don't know, man. There is so much turmoil or rumor or just around his name.
Yeah.
In terms of coach killer and this and that.
Yeah.
And so and then you seen the interview he gave once he got to Bashaki, that one day, and his wife, whatever, one day they're going to know the truth. But then you see the club kind of rush him out the side door. So you start to think maybe there is truth to a lot of this BS I don't know. I don't want to judge, because I don't know the details. I don't want to, but that's what it looks like. You know what I mean? What do you think? Am I right?
I think that these past couple of years, Pizzi has gathered a little bit of reputation, whether warranted or not, whether true or not. But the perception of the fan base, well, and I would say most of the fans, because there's a lot of guys out there that still, they like Pizzi, and they will continue to like Pizzi. But I think the whole thing with Lage, that a lot of people felt or had the perception, and again, perception, stressing perception, right? The perception that he was the ringleader in that. Then the whole fiasco thing that happened last year with JJ, the year prior to that, is lack of attitude on the field, which was very noticeable. So I think that over time he's built up this negative perception of Pizzi that the fan base has. And about football, it's always, what have you done for me lately? And regardless of the numbers, which I admit are very impressive and will probably have Pizzi at the very top in terms of stats, I think that kind of has been overshadowed by this negative perception that people have of Pizzi. So
and then as I mentioned, due to the fact that this is the way they've handled his exit, it kind of gives those rumors legs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it validates.
I don't want to validate. I'm just going to say gives it legs.
Right.
Because there still might not be true. But at least it starts to smell like it quacks like a duck. It sounds like a duck. It is a duck. You know what I mean? Like, it's starting to head that way, bro. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let him go away.
Maybe, Dave. Maybe he pulls oh my God, what's his name? The guy in the scooter, Eliseo. Yeah, the guy. Maybe he pulls an Eliseo and he comes in a little moped, and the title celebrate. I don't know, cause Eliseo never.
Eliseo never got.
Eliseo never got a goodbye.
Yeah.
He came in on his own that day, like, "Oh, I'm a party," and then he's like,
That's the best. It's even.
That's the best celebration in history.
It's even better than having a goodbye.
But that dude
for Eliseo, because he did it on his own terms.
He was like a wedding crasher. He
did it on his own terms.
He crashed the party, got on his Vespa, like, I don't care. Yo, he's Chaulada, he left, and like, yo, get like, yo. And you never, but Dave, you've never seen him again? Yeah. I don't think you've seen him since.
But did he do the Vespa 2 years in a row or not?
No, he did the Vespa. He went from there to the Marques Pombal. He did the Vespa, and that was it. And he's disappeared. Yeah. So that makes him the international man of mystery.
No, he did it on his own terms, dude.
Yeah,
he did it on his own terms, which is not a lot of players could say that.
So maybe Pizzi comes in.
Yeah.
Like that. On rollerblades.
Yep.
I don't know.
The Quadrum Damião Museum celebrated its 9th anniversary this week. If you guys haven't visited the museum, I recommend that highly. Buy the museum along with the stadium tour, and you will not regret it. Kovacevic, goalkeeper, Bosnian goalkeeper. Benfica is rumored to be interested. Then there's that Frederick
Polish league goalkeeper of the year. Benfica's going to these scarce leagues and like, we're taking all your top.
Well, at least he's not. They're not getting somebody from the second league in Spain, Almeria.
Oh, that worked out. Dave, that worked out.
And lastly,
and you see, they actually tried to go back to Almeria and sign their leading goal scorer, and Almeria's like, "You ain't getting me this time.
No, not this time. I fell for that shit once.
Yeah, we want 35. So.
No, and lastly, Pichardo, world champion in triple jump here in the United States in Eugene, Oregon. And nobody really was able to touch him. Wasn't even close to him. Almost 18 meters.
I had it on my
1795.
phone. I had it on my phone, like as an alert to watch, but then I didn't have internet at the time, so I missed it.
Yeah. No, I watched it. It's because people were tweeting about it.
I'm happy.
No, look, I think it's a guy that has caught a lot of flack from the Antis because he's Cuban, he's naturalized, blah 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 blah.
Hey, Benfica gets Cubans, other teams get doping guys. I mean, it happens. Not everybody's perfect.
Yeah.
We also have some questions here.
Let's go through the chat before we leave.
Cindy Souza asked earlier if we thought. Okay, do you guys know? Do you guys know if Benfica is going to get a top-notch goalkeeper? I think Cindy.
I think it's in the cards. Yeah.
To answer your question, I think they're 2 years too late. It should have been done.
Yeah, but I think it's in the cards. I think it's in the cards because I don't know about Vlachodimos. I mean, talking about a guy that you don't idealize in an extremely good Benfica team that could compete in Europe, Vlachodimos is not it. Neither is Helton. Sorry to say that.
Neither is Helton.
But Helton is a good number 2.
Helton has all the characteristics of what Benfica wants in a goalie.
They're just not that high.
But he has obviously, Alfredo. I'm saying he is.
He's got the characteristics.
Benfica, he's what Benfica wants, just better. But he plays with his feet.
Yeah.
Comes out for crosses, holds the ball, doesn't just punch everything out. He's exactly what Benfica wants. but just a better level.
I don't know
of a
much
goalkeeper.
about this Kovacevic guy. What other questions do we have, Cristiano?
Let's see.
Yeah. Diego Reyes wanted predictions.
For-
All right. So what do you want? The defender of the year.
Yeah, but you can't do that now,
Yeah,
Dave. Can't do that now.
I
Dave.
think that Enzo's gonna have a good year.
Can't do that yet, man. You gotta wait. This.
You're right.
We'll do. Dave.
I'd just be curious to look back, and I think we might have done this last year, or last season. We looked back at who was the starting 11 for the first game, and who was the starting 11 for the
Much better.
last game.
Let me set the table.
Set the table.
Because you guys, I think you're off. And
Põe um napron.
Yo was a great idea, right? It's a great idea. But Dave, here's the thing. It's premature. We need to do this when the transfer window closes. Because
Yeah, let's do it when the transfer window closes.
Look, Cristiano Ronaldo wants to come back home, wants to play in the Champions League. So at least he gets Benfica. No, but we don't know. I mean, there's still a lot of players that could come in. So I just think it's a little bit premature. That's what I'm saying. Hey, Diogo, we'll definitely do this. Dave, keep this in mind. We'll do this. September 2nd or 3rd, or whatever it is, that first podcast after the transfer window closes. I just think it's a little bit premature. That's all.
Yeah, no, I get that because there's.
Because Benfica could go get
You're right.
Casillas out of retirement. Then all of a sudden, come on, that's all.
That doesn't. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Let's wait until the rosters close up, and then we could offer some opinion, albeit still premature. But I think it'll be fun. What other questions do we have there?
Cindy says he's not a starter; he's a backup. Who are you referring to, Cindy?
Vlaco.
Yes, it's premature. We just might still come on. Cindy, let him volta.
Hey, what about Mertens?
Who?
Mertens from Napoli.
So who?
To us. Would you take him?
Where you get all these rumors from, bro? But you were right on the last rumor of Sanchez for 10 mil, so I ain't questioning no more. I haven't heard that.
No, I haven't heard it either.
I
thought it would be a guy that would fit well.
Yeah, of course. So does Napoli. That's why they want to keep him.
No, he's on the they're letting him go. They're letting Mertens go. I saw another guy that I said.
Yeah, it was Alexis Sanchez.
No, besides Alexis
Sanchez,
there was another guy that I saw that said, this wouldn't be a bad get.
Isco, number 10, baby.
Isco has already been mentioned, but
no, Sanchez still on the contract. He's still on the contract. He's not coming to Benfica.
He's part of the team.
No, but I think they'll let him go for the right price. But he's not. He's got other aspirations. That dude's not on the free, and it's totally different.
I forget. What else? You guys ready to roll?
There's questions. Hugo talks all this trash, and then he doesn't say anything.
Dave, you had one job, dude.
No, it's not Dave. It's not.
Oh.
Let me give my boy Sheik Marcelino some love.
There you go.
He's over there in Portugal.
Look,
we love all the listeners, but in particular those guys that sacrifice to stay up this late to listen to my knucklehead and the rest of you. Two beautiful voices. Those guys need extra love. But Sheik Marcelino, I'm just reading because he agrees with me. So, Sheik Marcelino said, João Mario and Tarap are total opposites. I have to agree that Tarap is more creative. For the number 10 role, João Mario can't risk a pass or a shot if his life depended on it. Manny Valadão, who's very active today, says Benfica offered Grimaldo to City, apparently.
City? Why would City touch him?
Yeah, Hugo says you guys are forgetting one of the pleasant surprises of this preseason.
Who's that?
The kid, Tony Silva, can ball.
Yeah, but where's he gonna play?
That's why I hang up on him every day when he calls me. Davey says all good, fun boys, all in good fun boys, much love, Davey.
Now I know why you don't read Davey Hen's questions, because he disagrees with you in terms of.
No, I still read them. But he just said it's all good. Carlos, what's up?
I miss
our
Carlos.
number one doctors here. Noticed. I guess he notices the time goes by much faster with this team. Yeah, the other team was like pulling teeth, brothers. Like, can we get this game over? It felt like it was only 30 minutes into the game last season. It felt like it was 3 hours in. We're like, we're in overtime. So yeah, you're right. This team has
Carlos, Front 242 is going to be in town soon. Let's get together.
Was that the new formation, 4-4-2?
Yeah.
Red Baron says we're still missing some pieces. Davey Hen says Rafa's been great also, but we always see him disappear by the 10th match anyway. Agree. Joe Mari normally disappears by the second or third match, so those two guys have that in common. Hugo's in love with Araújo, says he's 10 times a player.
Enrique Araújo or Thiago Araújo?
Enrique.
Or Tomás Araújo?
Enrique. He says that Enrique Araújo is 10 times a player that Gonçalo Ramos is. It's only a matter of time until he wins that spot.
No, I think, I have to agree with that. Even looking at the body language of both of them, Gonçalo Ramos, sometimes he looks like he's kind of like out of it, or he's like overwhelmed.
Listen, I'm already going to get plenty of lashes tomorrow.
The lashes. Who's going to lash you,
for
dude?
criticizing Florentino, so I'm a save Gonçalo for next week.
I'm going to save Gonçalo for next week.
Red Baron says, I think Benfica obviously needs to go get a goalkeeper, another midfielder, and a 10 for this kind of system. But we look much better than last season. Go back and look at the scores from last season. We lost against our B team.
Yeah, that was how we opened up the preseason last year. We lost against the B team. So it's the first game of the season. The first game of the preseason.
As we all know, JJ didn't normally field his strongest 11 the first couple games of the year anyway. Paok. Yes.
No, Paok was a couple of years ago, not last year.
But that's what I'm saying. JJ normally didn't field his strongest 11. That's what I'm saying.
There's razón.
Interfering with coaches. Okay, this is now Pizzi. Pizzi Love. Manny saying deserved it until he started interfering with coaches and starting revolts in the locker room. Red Baron says again he deserves much love and much respect. Much more love and respect than what he's getting from some of the fans. Sergio Sequeira respected Pizzi for what he did at the club, but the way he acted the last few years to coaches is the reason for this sort of exit.
It's a perception, man.
Yes. Davey says, don't let the door hit you where the sun don't shine.
Don't let the door hit you on the other side of the face.
Yeah, so nobody else is really saying much.
Yeah.
Luis Suarez is coming to bite Pepe's ear off.
Luis Suarez is already committed that he said he's coming home.
No, not coming home.
Where's he from? Uruguay.
He's going home.
He's going to Uruguay.
You're going home.
Yeah.
Not coming home. You're not in Uruguay.
He's coming home. He said, I'm coming home. Fuck, man. I read today that one of the administrators of the SAD for Malaga was said something on the media that they're reading the news that coming out of Portugal, and they said there's a contract, and if the contract is not met, then there's going to be
they have to pay him like 66
Dude,
or 67%.
I'm so over this Ortha thing, man.
Cindy, I like this. I like Cindy. Cindy
You like
says,
Cindy?
Still not satisfied with the squad. We need much more. Hey, I like that.
Epa,
We gotta get Cindy on
Cindy.
the podcast. She seems like she knows
Ten
what she's talking
cuidado,
about.
pa. You can't ask for too much. Let's just take a little baby steps, man.
Cindy's on my team. She's on my side.
Look, we got a decent right back, right? We got a decent.
we already had the right
We
back.
got a good 8. We got a good 8. Hey, I'll take it. I know that there's a lot of positions that we would.
Ned. We didn't even talk about Ned.
The thing that and I have these ideas in my head of things to talk about, and then Cristiano starts talking, and I lose my train of thought. I lose my train of thought. But the thing with Neres, and this thought came when you were saying Neres was a little bit more discreet because there's a little bit more attention paid to him. The thing that I like is then when Neres is not working, Rafa is working. And you can only double one guy at a time, I think. I don't know. I like the way Rafa's been playing, but again, he's another guy that you gotta wait and see how it goes.
Rafa is on.
Anyway, vamos embora.
Davey Hen says, I love to see Ristic light a fire on the Grimaldo. I think you would and the rest of the
I saw Ristic and I wasn't really impressed.
At least you've seen him. I've never seen him.
I saw him play 45 minutes and I wasn't impressed, and then he got hurt.
Nelson Carvalho says goalkeeper and number 10 are the biggest needs. Cindy says I'm tired of seeing this team get beaten by a Club da Fruta. That's why I like this. Cindy, next week you're on the podcast.
Cindy's saying all the right words.
On the DM. Next week you're coming on. Much better guest than Hugo, without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, that's why Hugo's not a guest.
Definitely has better clue.
Yes, more clues. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for being on a chat, being interactive, listening to us. Tremendously appreciated. Next week we'll be back. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll break down the first game again, Midfield. And Benfica.
That one counts, ladies and gentlemen.
That one does count.
At the start of the lose, should be another packed house.
49,000 is what they had today. Elder Conductor was saying 60,000 people. There was no 60,000 people. It was 49,000. So anyway, we'll be back next week. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. Did you know, Cristiano?
Well, we haven't done it. Did you know? In a long time.
Our Twitter account for Benfica Podcast has over 5,000 followers.
That's it.
Well, we went over that mark. I don't know how many is in there. It's embarrassing. Should be more.
The biggest club in Portugal.
Cristiano
we only got 5,000. That's
you gotta offer shirts for people to follow.
Well, what I'm gonna do this year, since you're talking about that, I will be giving away my Red Pass.
Ooh.
Yes. So you can attend the game, and here's the kicker. Here's the cherry on top. What is the cherry on top?
Cherry
of
on
the cake,
top.
The icing on top of the cake is that if you are fortunate enough to win, I don't know. We'll determine how we're going to do this. But if you're fortunate enough to get my Red Pass, you get to sit right next to Antonio Pizzi.
Não digas isso, pá. Everybody's going to want that Red Pass.
Because it's mine?
No, because of the company.
I thought it was because of mine. But you get to sit with Antonio Pizzi and the rest of the boys from the Benfica FM.
Epa.
So, hey, for now it's only one, so you got to leave your date outside. Let's stay loose. Watching your car, you pick them up at the Lima at the roulettes, eating some beef fun as you pick them up after. But yeah, I'll be giving those away. So
Vaquero was complaining that they raised the price of beer. It's now $1. It's €1.50 for a beer at the roulette.
How much were they before? €1?
I guess.
Tá
Tá mal, pá.
After 20 of them, bro, tá lixado. 20 for you and 20 for everybody else.
Shit counts. That's right. Don't mess around. Those guys in the roulettes, they're hip to what's going on in the financial markets. Anyway, take care, everyone.
Yep.
Love you all.
Love you.
Bye.